Welcome to Stories That Matter. I'm your host, Doug Thompson, with my special guest, William Lee Golden of the Oak Ridge Boys. And William, I've been reading the book. We ordered the book in, and that is a fantastic job. Scot England did a good job of taking your story and turning that into a really, really good story. And man, you got quite a story. I'm really excited to visit with you about it because I think it's just really good. You're an honest man. You're a hard-working man. And I looked at what you put in there about the family, and it's just fantastic.
Well, family is everything to me. It's in spite of all of my faults and shortcomings and mistakes, it's still the foundation of who I am. And fatherhood is a lifetime commitment. And I have a wonderful wife in my life. Thank God that family is everything to her too. And so that's what brings us, that's what all of our foundation is. So, and she helps me to be able to be on here today. So she's the one that, with more of the technical knowledge of getting in and out of here than me.
I understand.
I held off on technology as long as I could, and so now I'm basically forced to have to learn it. So I'm slowly learning.
Yeah. I used to make fun of my parents and grandparents, they would come and get me because they didn't know how to answer the phone. It was two rings or two longs and a short. And I just, why do you have to bother me with this? Why can't you get it? Well, now I'm at the other end of it. And so I understand now. How come I can't make this work? And it's disgusting, really.
Yeah, I know. I understand. So I got a young boy he's all tech savvy too, man. He's so fast, it's incredible. I'm a one finger pick and peck guy. So yeah. And I used to go out to dinner with my singing partners, and I'd go there and everyone would be looking at their phone. And I'd be sitting there by myself. Now I'm one there with them all looking at phones. See, you get, and I held off.
I understand.
I held off long as I could, but you kind of forced into it. And now I find that I don't use my computer much. It's all on my phone, my emails, everything, text. It's all right there. So it's amazing how technology will leap forward.
I understand it. That the book that you have written is absolutely fantastic. There's so many really, really good pictures in there. And as I started reading that, the first thing that I almost always ask anybody, that's the one. The one I've got's got little stickers all over it from the pictures and things that we want to use and when we build this program for you. And it's awesome. You did a really good job.
Thank you, sir. I was just Scot England, he was the one that asked the questions. I answered, and he put it all together. He talked to me probably 100 times or more. He talked to my wives, talked to my first wife, mother of my three oldest sons. And she was able to talk to him about some things about my faults and shortcomings, and also about the fact that my current wife, Simone, had the stories in there about what she did to get me to go back. Because she asked me, she said, "Did you ever apologize to Progene for being unfaithful?" And I said, "Well, I don't know that I did." She said, "Well, don't you think it's about time?" She said, "Because she didn't do anything to cause you to be unfaithful." And I didn't do that in the beginning. And she reminded me that had I done that yet, I said, "No." She said, "Well, don't you think it's time?" She said, "How much longer you plan to wait?"
most people don't put those stories in their book when they talk about themselves. But you're an honest guy, and you owned your mistakes, and I commend you for that. I had a question for you here as I look at the book, and all of the interviews I do, I almost always start out by asking the guest this one question. I say, who is it? Who is it that invested in you when you were at least a kid in your life? Who was it? And I read through your book, and if I was a betting man, I would say it was probably your sister Lynette. And but it could have been your parents, and your dad, like you said, was very outgoing, and your mom was pretty reserved, a lot like you. But who was it that invested in you, that got you into the music?
My father bought us instruments when we were little kids. His father, Granddaddy Golden, was a fiddle player, so he had good instruments. And he played the square dance, dance music and stuff. But my daddy, when we were little kids, we were learning to play on older instruments, but we still were learning to play. And after we all learned to play it, he saw we were serious, and we got to play in our instruments on Granddaddy's radio show. Once a week, we'd get to go sing a song. Then Daddy took us to Mobile to a nice music shop, and he bought me a brand new F-hole Gibson guitar and brought my sister a brand new F-hole Gibson mandolin. And we still have those instruments, and they were matching. It was like the Sunburst guitar and mandolin. And anyhow, we played those instruments the same, but it was having good instruments that they saw that we needed, and to help us to sound better and to make us want to play more. And it did. And then the first quartet I ever sang with was in high school. And, everyone knew that I played and sang as a little kid, but then I sang. We're singing in the quartet, you're singing in more keys than I was used to playing. So, but yeah, I sing in the FFA quartet, Future Farmers of America quartet. We'd have school, different chapters that either have a band. They could get together a band, playing music, or they could get together singers, sing music, sing songs. And they'd compete with other schools. So we won this whole South Alabama deal of FFA quartets. So we still got the plaque. The banner of the first place winners, FFA quartet, and the year and the district and all. And so they presented that with me a couple of years ago. So it's hanging on the wall down on the farm where I was raised. So I put it in there, and we go back there as often as we can to the farm place.
I like that story in your book about where your granddaddy Golden came a preacher with and was on the radio with WEBJ, and the Old Country Church, I think you said, was the name of it, and that was your first public appearance. And you and your sister got on the show, and you were 9, so she must have been 12. And you guys got to perform on air for the first time. Was that pretty nerve-wracking?
Yeah, we've been playing for a while, so we were playing all around at that time. But yeah, we did it, and we'd go and from that we'd get to go on every week, and so yeah, that's where it started, and so this is where it's brought me to. And it's still going, so I'm still looking ahead.
I like that story in your book, William, about the school bus driver when you were 13, while you were singing out loud and serenading to the people on the bus, and the bus driver said, "If you don't stop, I'm going to throw you off."
That's true. I was sitting in the back of the bus as usual. And anyhow, it was just a beautiful day, and I was singing Zippity Doo Dah. Zippity-yay, my oh my, what a wonderful day. Plenty of sunshine in my way. Zippity-doo-dah, and I let it go, boy. And it felt so good to just turn it loose and hear the vibration in that bus. But boy, he slammed on brakes, and he was a grouchy old driver anyway. And here he come, boom, boom, boom. He's looking at me. He got back there and he stuck his point. He said, "If you don't shut up, I'm putting you off this bus right now." So I didn't say a word.
Well, that took care of the singing then. That first real critic of yours, apparently.
That was a spoken critic. So, yeah. So I guess that was the first one. You got to get used to a life of having them too. So as many fans as you got to realize that there's just that many on the other hand that can't stand you. So go ahead and accept that.
Oh, I bet he really loved it. In retrospect, he probably, when he'll read that in the book, or somebody in his family now will read it in the book, they'll say, "I don't know what he was thinking. He loved that country music. I can't believe he scolded you," but it happens. You know, I like the story that you had in there about when you were performing. I think it was in Nashville, and Aaron Tippin was maybe on stage with you. You were backstage, and Aaron says, "You realize my great-grandfather is the one who delivered you?" That must have been really?
Yeah, I didn't realize. I knew it was a Dr. Tippin that had delivered myself, and he delivered my little brother, and he had also delivered my sister, who was a little bit older. But Dr. Tippin, back then, I was born at home in a little old shack right there on the farm, on the cotton and peanut farm. And there was a road that run right by our house. And that road was the Alabama and Florida state line. So you could actually throw a rock over. But I lived there till I was a year old. And then we moved east about a mile, still right on the state line. My daddy bought a farm over there, and it was cotton and peanut farmers. So that's how I grew up, on a big cotton farm and peanut farm.
I like that story in there, William, where you told about I got a lot of my gospel music and inspiration and the sound of gospel music from being in the cotton fields, picking cotton and doing the jobs out there, and the workers there would oftentimes be singing gospel songs. And you obviously had a real desire for gospel songs from early on.
Yeah, my mother taught us the gospel songs too, and it was little kids. They taught us these old country gospel songs. Hank Williams was, he wrote "I Saw the Light." We'd sing "I Saw the Light." We also sang Great Speckled Bird, Roy Acuff's song, and Louvin Brothers songs. Kitty Wells had a song, "Matching Over the Hilltop," a gospel song. But with my sister and I would play and sing those type old country gospel songs. So it was later on joining the Oak Ridge Boys that you in churches that are more sophisticated and with more of a bigger orchestrated music, and choirs that have operatic singers in them. And so it was, music is a broad spectrum. Music has many facets, and I happen to be fascinated by all those facets of music.
Well, William, when you said you had gone to one of the concerts and your favorite group was the Oak Ridge Boys, that was before you even knew the Oak Ridge Boys personally. You would have known about them, being a fan of them. But that's an absolutely amazing story. Did you ever think, when I'm sitting up there in the bleachers and I'm watching the Oak Ridge Boys perform, that someday I'm going to be part of that band? Did that even cross your mind?
Well, I was, this was in, I guess, 62. I was just right out of high school. Uh, 62, they had two albums. One was Oak Ridge Boys Sounds of Nashville. One was Oak Ridge Boys. It was during the folk era. They had an album called Folk Minded Spirituals for Spiritual Minded Folks. And those two Warner Brothers albums that they had that really kind of turned me on to the group and what the music they were making and their style of harmony. It was their harmonies that they had. So it was that time that's what. Then 2-3 years later, I joined the group. So I got to work with them then before. And when I met them working, singing on the same show, I had a trio that I was singing in after high school, quartet. But got to be on the shows with them. I got to know them, we'd be opening the act on shows. And so it was 3 or 4 shows we'd work together and kind of got to know them. And I knew they made a change. And that's when I come to Nashville and talked to Smitty Gatlin and told him what I could visualize with the group, because they had a guy that had replaced Gary McSpadden, who was singing with them in 62 when they recorded those great albums. And
wow. Is that when you were singing with the Pilot Trio? You guys were on the road quite a bit then, but you hadn't joined the Oak Ridge Boys yet?
No, I hadn't. I was actually working at a paper mill at that time when I was singing in the Pilot Trio. We all had other jobs, and we would play, and we were, part-time singers, I guess. But when I joined the Oak Ridge Boys, that's the first time it was a full-time singing. Get up in the morning, work all day to be able to sing, and the next day you do the same thing. So it's you're able to get your focus and keep your focus.
When you got your first chance, William, to be part of the Oak Ridge Boys, what'd that feel like, walking out on the stage that first time, and I'm with the Oak Ridge Boys? What was going through your mind?
Man, I was happy as I could be, and I started out singing. What was that? 56 years ago. 57. What is it? They keep passing up, but yeah, it was exciting to walk on stage with the Oak Ridge Boys and be singing. And I finally, after 55 years, I've worked myself sideways. So it's a good thing to look forward to.
You've had an amazing career. I want to jump back to your childhood for a little bit, because I looked at several of the pictures in the books. And what I saw in there was a number of pictures of you. You didn't have any shoes on. You never had a pair of shoes on for a long time.
Well, I liked to go barefooted when I was little. And growing up in the deep South, you couldn't wait for springtime. We had short winters down there. Have about a month of winter. And then it starts warming back up. So we couldn't wait for the days to be able to take them shoes off. So yeah, I was a barefoot kid.
And I love that story you had in there, William, about I think it was your grandfather's pickup truck. Not to drive that truck, but you not only drove it, but you took care of it, flipping it over.
I did. I was about 15 years old too. They went to a political rally with my mother, dad, and I. So my little brother and my first cousin, who was a little older than my Ronnie, well, anyhow, I had heard there was going to be a peanut boiling over at some creek over there in the woods. And so I thought we heard there was going to be some girls over there. So, man, I said, hey, let's go see what's going on. So we took off the back roads, and it was going around a curve in a sand bed. It was an old sow, and some pigs run across. Well, I whipped it too hard. It hit that sand and boom, it just slowly turned over. And yeah, so we got back out, and the three of us then was able to turn it back over to get it up going. And anyhow, we're scared to death too, so that helps you pick up more than you normally pick up. So, but yeah, they didn't like what I had done, so that was a whole nother. That was a disappointment to my grandpa, and my daddy had to pay for the truck.
Oh, man. Well, you've got lots and lots of songs that you sang over the years. Do you have a particular favorite song?
Well, a couple. Thank God for Kids is one of my favorite that I sing. I also sang a song, Trying to Love Two Women, but that was my life story in the 70s and in the early 80s. But, you couldn't talk about favorite songs without mentioning Elvira, which I sing harmony on, but that's one of the most fun songs that we sing. So we can't forget that when we're talking about song favorites.
Oh, I can imagine that would be one of the first songs that I thought about when I knew we were going to do the interview. I said, I'd be able to sing that with you, but I can't sing. I have no ability. And so they'd throw me off the bus right now. So, but that's fantastic what you've done with Elvira and the other songs, and I think it's just great. Well, you didn't say, did you get into a lot of trouble when your grandpa came back and saw that truck all damaged?
Well, almost. I got scolded real good. I was kind of grounded for a few days and told to stay out of the vehicles, but, not grounded long. So we had.
Yeah, they forgave you. They were glad nobody got hurt.
Yeah, that's the main thing. It's just equipment.
And then, when I started reading your book, William, I said, well, you've known the Lord from many, many years ago when Granddaddy Golden was a pastor. And I was surprised in the book when I got to the point it said I had never been baptized, and now it was time for me to be baptized. Tell me about what you were going through at that time.
Well, we had a little country church, and the baptisms were not inside the churches. We went to the creeks back then, so at some point I'd never been baptized, but still growing up, it's just a decision that I'd never made personally. And anyhow, it was my youngest son, Solomon. He approached me one time because I was discussing. He had been baptized, and anyhow, he asked me had I been baptized, and I said no, I hadn't. So then he talked to me and got to wanting me to be baptized. Said he wanted to be in heaven with me. So I said okay, and so it was Bishop Joseph Walker III is a pastor here, and I had seen him on television, and I loved the spirit he had, and his choir and day music, and the spirit-filled church he had. And so I went to visit there and got to know Bishop Walker, and then I told him that I would like to be baptized.
And I think that's awesome that it was your youngest son that said, I want to be in heaven with you. When this is all over, I want to be in heaven with you. I think that's awesome. There was a period of time that I know you got, well, your book says you got fired from the Oak Ridge Boys, but after a period of time you got back with the Oak Ridge Boys. Are you guys still traveling?
Are we still traveling? Well, we did 150 concert dates the year before the pandemic. We had 150 dates booked last year during the pandemic that all got canceled. We are back out now. We're in concerts. We have a very busy fall, and we have another Christmas stay here in Nashville with 30 Christmas shows at Gaylord Opryland again this year. We had that last year during the pandemic. We were fortunate. It was a godsend for us to be able to sing, and we're doing it again. This year it won't be social distance. Last year it was, and but this year they'll be able to pack it. We have 150 dates booked coming up for the 12 months.
Yeah. And I know for you, William, it's really important that you really like to interact with the fans. And I know that fans always love that somebody will take time to talk to them, sign a book for them, sign an autograph, say something with them. And I have heard that repeatedly from others, that William is the one who's always take the time to talk to them.
Well, I'm still a fan myself. I'm still a fan of a lot of great singers and entertainers. So I know, as a fan, I know how I would feel if I was shunned. And I try not to shun anybody that would happen to want an autograph. And I'm thankful for each one.
Well, I'm gonna tell the people that will be watching this that if you're a fan of the Oak Ridge Boys of William Lee Golden, get his book. Get his book and read it. It is fantastic. It is a good read. It's a story about a man that's been out on the road a lot, and he's a straightforward, honest person about the good and the bad in his life. And William, thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking time to visit with us.
Thank you, Doug. Maybe we can do it again soon when I get the music out. God bless you.